Laura Secord music students are having a rare opportunity today. Jazz great Phil Nimmons is here to work with them. What do you attribute your longevity to?
I really don't know, except possibly my mother lived to 96. I think probably one thing I got from her was a sense of humor. And I think the fact that I've been teaching, I think indirectly maybe, they've kept me young at heart anyhow, if not in body, the students.
Highlights of Nimmons' career include winning the first Juno for Best Jazz Album and receiving the Order of Canada. He is also founder of jazz programs in various schools, including the Banff School of Fine Arts and the University of Toronto.
And the reason I play the clarinet, my late older sister Jane said, "Phil, you heard Benny Goodman on the radio," and that was it. I was smitten. But I wound up playing in a jazz group in Vancouver, and also, and I started writing music at that time. And I got very fortunately, I'm self-taught. I was in the CBC Vancouver Chamber Orchestra, so I got introduced in a lot of ways through the conductor John Avison to classical music. So I've not had any division between jazz and classical music right from an early age. So my influences jazz-wise were certainly Benny Goodman, Count Basie, and mainly Duke Ellington, who I think is a fountainhead in every way.
Phil Nimmons was joined by Canadian Jazz Artist of the Year, Dave Braid. Today's workshop encouraged improvisation by the students, something Phil and Dave experienced the first time they were on stage together.
And so we're getting to the venue. I'm like, "Yeah, Phil, so what do you want to play, you know?" And before this, of course, I learned a bunch of his music and the standard tunes that he likes to play, so I'd be prepared. He's like, "Let's just improvise." And when he said that, it just felt right. It felt like the right thing to do. It's like, yeah, and it'll be great. So completely coincidentally, he brought a mini disc recorder and a good microphone, and we recorded our very first concert together, which we released as a CD.
Yeah, I think that you exemplify his feeling like he wants to keep it fresh and alive.
Yeah, I mean, I can say this because I'm not him and he doesn't want to brag about this, but I think it's incredibly profound. As someone who over 7 decades and has built such a career for himself and such a name for himself for composing like music in a certain style that has an identifiable sound with an identifiable group of musicians, then in the last decade or two of his life, he decides to put that all aside and I'm going to play completely creative and spontaneous music. That's incredible.
Today's visit was arranged by music teacher Dave Sisler, whose relationship with Mr. Nimmons dates back to his time at the University of Toronto.
You know, he by far has taught me more than any of my other teachers about working with people, about jazz, about education, just everything that I'm basically doing now as a career.
Well, I did notice that he's very thorough.
For sure. I mean, he's lived it, he's written it, he's performed it, and he continues to do so. I mean, he's the real deal. He knows what he's doing by experience.
The beat goes on for Phil Nimmons, who continues to be actively involved in jazz at the age of 90. In St. Catharines, reporting for The Source, I'm Brenda Schultz.